She was locked inside her room. No phone. No way out. So how did she end up on stage? Playing in front of hundreds of people. Jessica Parker was 14. But if you passed her in the street, you would probably not remember her. She didn't talk much. She didn't smile much. She didn't try to stand out. She was the kind of girl people forgot, even when she was standing right in front of them. But there was one thing about Jessica. Something no one saw. Her fingers were never still. Even when she was sitting quietly, even when she was walking, her hands moved slightly in the air. Like she was playing something no one else could hear. Because in her mind, there was always music. Jessica didn't live in a normal home. Her parents were strict. Very strict. They believed life was simple. Study. Work hard. Be serious. Don't waste time anything else. Not important. Especially music. For them, music was a distraction. Something that pulls people away from success. She just listened and stayed quiet. Music doesn't build a future, her father often said. And in their house, what her father said was the final word. So Jessica never argued, but Jessica had a secret. A dangerous one. Every day, after school, she didn't go straight home. Instead, she took a longer route, turned left, walked the streets, past the bakery, then stop at a small apartment building. That's where Lily lived. Her only friend. Lily's house was different. It was warm, loud, messy, alive. And in the corner of the living room, there was a piano. The first time Jessica sat in front of that piano, she didn't touch it. She just stared, like it might disappear, like it wasn't allowed. "What are you waiting for?" Lily asked. Jessica's voice was barely a whisper. "I've never done this before." Lily smiled. "Then today is the first time." Jessica looked down at her hands. They were shaking. "What if I'm not good?" Lily leaned back. "Then be bad." That simple answer changed something. Slowly, Jessica placed one finger on a key, then another. A soft note filled the room. It wasn't perfect, not even close, but it was real. And it was hers. The sound echoed, and for a moment, everything felt different, like the world outside didn't matter, like she'd finally found something that belonged to her. After that day, Jessica kept coming back. Again. And again. And again. Every afternoon. No excuses. Some days her fingers hurt. Some days she felt tired. Some days she wanted to stop, but she didn't. Because something inside her kept pushing. Faster. Harder. Better. At first, her playing was slow, uneven, sometimes even wrong, but she didn't stop. She learned from every mistake, every missed note, every broken rhythm. Slowly, her fingers started to change. They became faster, more confident, more alive. One evening, something changed. Jessica was playing, and suddenly, it didn't feel like practice anymore. It felt natural, like her hands already knew what to do. Like the music was flowing through her. Not from her. Lily noticed it first. She stopped moving, then whispered, "You're getting really good." Jessica didn't respond, because she didn't believe it yet. To her, she was still just trying, still learning, still not enough. That night, she came home late. Too late. The house was quiet. Too quiet. She opened the door slowly and froze. Her father was sitting in the living room, waiting. Not angry, not loud. Just waiting. Where were you? He asked. His voice was calm, but there was something underneath it. Something serious. I was studying, Jessica replied quickly, but her voice shook. Her hands, they told the truth. Tiny marks. Red fingers. From playing too much. Her mother stepped closer. She looked at Jessica's hands, then said one word. What is this? Jessica didn't answer. She couldn't. Because she knew there was no explanation that would help. Silence filled the room. Heavy silence. Then, have you been playing music? The question was soft, but the meaning behind it was not. Jessica still didn't speak. And then her parents laughed. Not loud, not cruel, but enough. Enough to break something inside her. Music, her father said. You think that will take you anywhere? Her mother shook her head, slowly. You're not special. Jessica Tut's sentenza hit deeper than anything else, because it wasn't shouted. It was said like truth. That night, everything changed. Her parents decided. No more going out, no more Lily, no more piano. And to make sure, they locked her room. From the outside, click. That sound echoed in Jessica's chest. The room felt different now. Smaller, heavier, like it was closing in on her. Jessica sat on the floor, still, silent. At first, she didn't move. Then slowly, her fingers began to move, not on a piano, but in the air, playing notes only she could hear. Her eyes closed. And in her mind, the music continued, clear, strong, alive. Tears started to fall, but she didn't stop, because even in silence, she was still playing. Time passed. Hours, maybe longer. Then, tap. 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 Tap, tap. She lifted her head slowly. Again, tap. Tap. She stood up. Her heart started beating faster. She walked to the window, opened it slightly, and looked outside. Lily, standing in the dark, breathing fast. You're actually locked in, she whispered. Jessica nodded. I can't get out. Lily looked at her seriously. There's a concert tonight. Jessica's eyes widened. A real one. Silence. Heavy. Dangerous. You should be there, Lily said. Jessica shook her head. I don't have permission. Lily stepped closer. You don't need permission to be who you are. Jessica looked at the door behind her. Locked. Then back at the window. Open. Her heart was racing. Her hands were shaking. What if they find out? Lily didn't hesitate. Then let them see the truth. Slowly. Carefully. Jessica climbed out of the window. One step, then another. Her hands trembled, but she didn't stop. Because for the first time, she wasn't just hiding, she was choosing. And finally, she made it outside. The cold air touched her face. Freedom, but also fear. Because now, she had to face something much bigger. A stage, a crowd, and the moment that could change everything. The night air was cold. But Jessica didn't feel it. Her heart was beating too fast. Her thoughts running louder than the silence around her. For a moment, she stopped just outside the window, her feet barely touching the ground, as if she was afraid the world itself might reject her next step. Her mind kept repeating one question. Am I really doing this? Beside her, Lily didn't let her hesitate for long. She grabbed Jessica's hand, firmly grounding her in the moment. Don't think too much, she whispered, her voice steady but urgent. Just walk. And so, with a breath that felt heavier than anything before, Jessica moved forward. They didn't slow down. Street after street, light after light, the city around them remained quiet, almost unaware of what was happening. But inside Jessica, everything was loud. Her breath came in short bursts. Her heartbeat echoed in her ears. Fear wrapped tightly around her chest, but she kept moving, because stopping now meant turning back. "What if we don't get in?" Jessica asked suddenly, her voice trembling with doubt. Lily didn't even turn around this time. "We will," she replied with quiet confidence. Jessica hesitated again, her steps slowing for just a second. "But we don't have anything," she added. Lily stopped walking for a moment, then turned slightly and said, "Then we'll still try." That simple answer carried more courage than anything else. After what felt like endless walking, they finally reached it. A large concert hall stood in front of them, glowing under bright lights. People dressed neatly walked in and out, their presence confident, almost untouchable. Soft music drifted from inside, blending with the calm elegance of the place. But Jessica didn't feel any of that. She stopped. Her body froze in place. "This is too big," she whispered, her voice almost lost in the air. The building didn't feel welcoming. It felt distant. "Impossibile." Lily turned to her eyes steady. "No. This is your chance." Jessica looked up slowly at the entrance. The doors stood wide open. But to her, they felt heavier than any locked door she had ever faced. They moved closer, but before they could take another step, a security guard stepped in front of them. His expression was firm, his voice cold and final. "Tickets." Jessica froze instantly. Her heart dropped. Lily spoke quickly, trying to stay calm. "We don't have tickets." The guard didn't react at all. "Then you can't enter." Simple, final, no room for discussion. And just like that, everything seemed to stop. Jessica felt it. In that moment, the weight of failure before even trying. Around them, people began to notice. Whispers spread quietly. "Why are they here? They don't look like performers, just kids." Jessica's face burned with embarrassment. She took a small step back, her confidence breaking piece by piece. "We should go," she whispered, her voice cracking. "This was a mistake." Lily immediately grabbed her arm again, stronger this time. "No." Jessica shook her head, her eyes filled with doubt. "I can't do this." Lily stepped in front of her, forcing her to look up. "Look at me." Jessica did. For a moment, everything else faded. Her fear, the crowd, the voices, the doubt. Just one thing remained: Lily's belief in her. Before Jessica could say anything, a calm voice interrupted them. "Wait." Both girls turned around. A well-dressed man stood there, observing them carefully. He didn't look confused or annoyed. He looked interested, like he had already seen something others had missed. "Why are you here?" he asked, his tone calm but serious. Jessica hesitated, her voice almost disappearing before she could speak. Then she said quietly, "I want to play." A small reaction moved through the crowd. Some laughed softly. Others exchanged doubtful looks. The guard even let out a slight chuckle. "She doesn't even have permission," he said. But the man didn't respond to that. Instead, his eyes stayed fixed on Jessica. He studied her carefully, the way she stood, the way her hands moved slightly, the nervous energy in her presence. Then he asked it, "You think you can handle this stage?" Jessica swallowed hard. Her hands were shaking, but she didn't look away this time. "Yes." A silence followed. Then the man nodded slowly. "All right." The entire space seemed to freeze. Even the guard looked surprised. "I'll give you one chance." Lily's eyes widened. "Really?" The man turned to the guard. "Let them in. I'll take responsibility." After a brief hesitation, the guard stepped aside, and just like that, the doors opened. Warm light spilled out from inside. Music filled the space. Jessica took her first step inside, then another, moving slowly, carefully, as if she didn't belong in this world. The hall was bigger than she imagined. People sat in rows, dressed elegantly, their attention already focused. their expectations already set. And at the center of it all, a grand piano. She was guided backstage, where other performers stood waiting. They looked confident, calm, prepared. They wore expensive clothes. Their posture, perfect. Their expressions controlled. Jessica looked different. Uncertain. Nervous. Out of place. Someone nearby whispered, "She's new." Another voice added, "She won't last." Jessica heard every word, and for a moment, she wanted to leave. "I can't," she whispered, her voice breaking. Lily stepped in front of her again. "Don't listen to them." Jessica shook her head. "They're right," she said quietly. "No," Lily replied firmly. "You're just scared." Before Jessica could respond, a voice echoed through the hall. "Next performer, Applaus, last-minute entry." The audience began to murmur. "Please welcome." Another pause. Jessica Parker. Her name echoed through the hall. This was it, her moment. Her breath stopped. Slowly, she stepped forward. Each step felt heavier than the last. The lights grew brighter as she approached the stage. The audience stared, waiting, judging, expecting something. She reached the piano, sat down, and for a moment, she didn't move. The hall whispered again, "She's just a kid. This will be quick." Some even smiled, expecting failure. Jessica closed her eyes, took a deep breath, and placed her hands on the keys. A soft note filled the room, then another, and another. Slowly, something began to change. Her fingers moved with more confidence. The sound grew stronger, deeper, more alive. It wasn't perfect, but it was real. The music didn't feel like it was coming from her hands anymore. It felt like it was coming from within her. The room changed. People stopped whispering, stopped moving, stopped breathing. The judges leaned forward, their expressions shifting from doubt to surprise, to something closer, to admiration. Jessica was no longer just playing. She was expressing everything she had ever felt, every moment of silence, every moment of pain, every hidden dream she had carried for years. Her fingers moved faster now, smoother, stronger. The music flowed through her like it had always been waiting for this moment. She didn't see the audience anymore, didn't hear the whispers, didn't feel the fear. She was completely lost in the music. At the back of the hall, two figures entered, late, quiet, confused. Then they heard the sound. They stopped. Her mother's voice came out in a whisper. "Who is that?" They looked toward the stage, and then they saw her. Jessica's hands slowed. The music soft, and then the final note. Silence. For 1 second, nothing moved. Then the entire hall stood up. Applause filled the room. Loud, powerful, unstoppable. Jessica slowly opened her eyes and saw them, her parents, standing in the crowd, watching her. For the first time, not as someone to control, but as someone to respect. Her mother's eyes filled with tears. Her father said nothing, but his silence said everything. And in that moment, everything changed. A girl who was locked away became the one everyone stood for. Because sometimes, talent doesn't need permission. It just needs a chance.